Hey everyone, this is Erwin, the founder of Publer, and today I want to go more in depth on how you can schedule in bulk using a CSV file. In case you did not know, we first launched the CSV import back in 2017 when social media did not have reels and stories, alt text wasn't embraced enough, and scheduling first comments wasn't a thing. It's been a long time, 8 years, but I'm very happy that we have finally made it possible so that you can schedule almost everything just using a simple spreadsheet. So let me show you a spreadsheet that I have prepared for this demo. You can also find this example on Google Drive. So if you go to Publer and whenever you try to attach a CSV file, you'll be able to see this example in here. Before I start, I just want to emphasize that using a CSV works solely for populating your composer. Similar to how you can manually add posts. For example, we can say that this is post 1, and if I click on add post, this is post 2, and so on. And another method is uploading multiple media in bulk. They can be from your device or from our integrations that we offer. For example, I'm going to select a bunch of photos from our media library, and as you can see, every single photo will be a separate post. CSV file is no different. It's just a way that you can add more posts, but it offers more features than using the Publer interface. So let me go back to the CSV template, and I'll go through each column one by one. And once we import the CSV file back to Publer, I will show you what you can do next that maybe it's not possible directly from the CSV file. So the first column, and probably the most important one, is the date column. This is where you specify the day and the time you want your post to go out. You can use simple English prompts, for example, next Friday 2 p.m., 2 weeks from now, next working day at 8 a.m., or December 31st at midnight, which is basically New Year. But keep in mind that this is not AI. This is simple English prompts. So you cannot say, for example, I want this post to go out at the best time possible, because the script or the CSV import won't know that. But if you say next Friday at 2 p.m., it's very easy for this script to understand what you mean. Alternatively, you can simply, put the day and the time. Even though almost every date format will work, we prefer the international format, meaning you start with the year, and then the month, and then the day, and then you end with the time. Again, which is preferred if you use the 24 hours format or the military time, but you should also be able to rely on AM and PM. If you need to edit this CSV template from Google Sheets, you have to first make a copy and then you download it using this comma separated values, or short for CSV. Instead, I'm going to use Excel. This is the exact same example that I showed you. And last but not least, you can always leave the date column blank. If you do leave it blank, that's an indicator for Publer to automatically schedule your post based on your posting schedule that you should have set up in advance. And the second column is, I would say, the simplest column in the CSV template. This is the main text area. So if you want something to say, for example, good morning, this is where you place the good morning part. And next is the links column. The link column is, you can use it for 3 use cases. The first one is if you want to attach a link post, for example, and this works for Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Threads, Mastodon, Blue Sky, and Telegram. So these are the only social networks that support link post. And the link post, what I mean by link post is if you go to your composer, type publer.com, and after we fetch the link preview, this is what we call a link post. So if I select Publer on the left, we can see that this is how the post will look like. I can even remove the URL from the caption, and this is what we consider a link post. And another way that you can rely on this column is if you're posting to Pinterest or Google Business or to an Instagram account who has a link in bio set up, and you want the call to action or the users, when they click on the post, to go to a specific link, this is where you place it. Last but not least, Facebook carousel links, which look like this. So let me go back to Publer. As you can see, it's this option in here. So once you attach a link in Publer, you will be able to attach another link on you can reattach the same link. And if you look at the preview on the right, this is how a link carousel will look like. And you can specify that in a CSV file by entering multiple URLs separated by a comma. We will strip out the empty spaces, so you can use empty spaces in case it makes it easier for you to distinguish which is the first URL and which is the rest of the URLs. Next is the media URL columns. And for the media URL columns, this is where you can specify the URL for your photo, for your videos, for your GIFs. And keep in mind that every row is a specific post. So if you want to mix photos and videos within the same post, that's not possible at the moment. And the only time that you can have multiple URLs within the same cell is when you want to post a carousel for Instagram, a PDF document for LinkedIn, or a multi-photo post for Facebook. Otherwise, you can only have one URL, which can be a video or a GIF. One of the most asked questions regarding this column is, where do you host the media? You can basically host it anywhere, as long as it's a public link, including a link from YouTube, for example. Publer will be able to download that URL into our servers, and basically it will be the same as if you were to manually upload it to Publer. But what we recommend is hosting your media into Publer's media library. It comes with unlimited storage, which means that you don't have to pay for another third-party service. And very recently, we made it very, very easy for you to upload all your media to Publer's media library and copy the media URL so that you can use in the CSV file. So let me show you a quick example. If you go to the media library and then you select the files that you want to include into the CSV file. So I'm just gonna select, let's say, these 4 images. And as soon as I selected that one, you can see there's a new option in here that says copy URL. If I click on copy URL, you will see 2 more options. And basically we need to know how you want to separate these URLs that you're copying. If you want them to be comma separated, it means that the URLs should go within the same cell. And if you want it to be separated with a new line, it means that every URL will be a new line. So let me go with the first option. As you can see, the URLs are copied to clipboard. If I go back to the spreadsheet file and paste it in here, you can see that the files or the URLs are separated with a comma, which means that if I import this CSV file back to Publer, this row or this cell will be converted into a multi-photo post. On the other hand, if I go back and copy the URLs separated with a new line, we will see that every URL will be a new row. And if I import this CSV file back to Publer, these 4 rows will be 4 different posts in Publer. And let's go next to the title column, and this is used if you're posting a video to LinkedIn or to Facebook. This will be the title for the video. If you're posting a PDF carousel for LinkedIn, this is also the title for the PDF. And if you're posting to Pinterest, it will be the title for the pin. And if you're posting multiple photos to TikTok, or a TikTok photo carousel, this will be the title for the post. And if you want to include spoilers for Mastodon, this is where you can include the spoiler, or as Mastodon considers it a warning. And last but not least, if you want to schedule in bulk multiple WordPress articles, this is where the article title goes into. Next is the labels column. The labels is used for 2 cases. One is if you want to automatically schedule a post for a label time slot, this is where you input the label of the time slot. If I go back to Publer, let's assume that I want to schedule in bulk for the Facebook page, and let's go to the posting schedule. Here I have the posting schedule for our Facebook account. If I want this CSV file or the first row to work with our posting schedule, I have to make sure that there's the time slot labeled funny. So I'm just gonna leave it for Friday. I'm gonna update this time slot, and here I'm gonna select funny, click on update. So now we should be good to go, and as soon as I import this CSV file, the first post will be automatically scheduled for next Friday at 4 p.m. Even though I'm not including a date in here, Publer will automatically schedule this post for you. Another way that you can use the labels column is if you want to separate the posts that you schedule in Publer. For example, if you want this post in here to be organized with these labels promo and Publer, these labels will be attached to the post. If they don't exist in Publer, these new labels will be created for you. Otherwise, we'll simply pick from the labels that you may have previously created. And this post won't be automatically scheduled because I've instructed Publer to schedule this post manually for next Friday at 2 p.m. And of course, for these columns, you can always leave them blank. So if you don't have to specify a title or a label, don't remove that column, simply leave it back. And now we start with the new columns that were recently introduced. First is the alt text. This has been asked the most on our feedback page. And this is where you can specify the alt text as long as you're posting photo posts. Since alt text can have commas, you cannot separate them with comma, but you can separate them with a double pipe. And of course, you can leave this column blank. You need to make sure that you have as many media URLs in the media URLs columns as you have alt text, because we'll match, for example, the Grow Your Social with Publer will be the alt text for the first URL, and the Publer's roadmap will be the alt text for the second URL. Once I import the CSV file back to Publer, it will make more sense, but for now, I'm just going to finish with the rest of the columns. Next is the comments column. You can use this if you want to schedule first comments for LinkedIn, Instagram, or also if you want to schedule threads for Twitter, Blue Sky, Mastodon, and Threads. Similar to alt text, you cannot separate them with comma because you may have commas in the comments. Instead, you use the double pipe hack. For now, we only support text-only comments, so you cannot have, the first comment have also an image. Maybe this will be an improvement for the next iteration. But for now, you can always have a media or a link attached to the main post, and then have, the text-only comments attached below the post. The next column is for specifying the pinboard, Facebook album, or Google category. For this column, you need to make sure that the value that you enter in here is an existing Pinterest board, it's an existing Facebook album, or is one of the possible choices for Google category. If you go to the article or to our help center and scroll down to column number 9, you will see that these are the values that you can use for Google Business Photos. Keep in mind that the Google Business Photo is different from an update. So let me go back to Publer and show that to you. So let me select a Google Business account, and here we have a photo. So this will be an update. As you can see on the right, this is just a normal update. But if you want this photo to go to the Google Business Photos, then you have to select the Photo tab. And if you look at the preview on the right, you will see how the post or how the photo will look like on Google Business. And if you look at the category, this is one of the categories that you can specify in the CSV file. But unlike the interface, the categories or Google uses a different syntax. For example, for at work, in the CSV file, you have to specify @_work. These values are case insensitive, so you can import them in Publer, uppercase, lowercase, or mixed case, it doesn't matter. We'll automatically match them, but as long as they're exactly like this. For example, they need to have the underscore. And for the Pinterest board, you need to make sure that the value that you enter in here is an existing Pinterest board. The same goes for the Facebook album. If we cannot match the value that you entered in here with the Facebook album, the post will simply go to the timeline photos. And for the Pinterest board, we will try to select, if you have specified the default board under your social account settings for Pinterest, we will use that instead. So let me show you how that is done as well. So if you go to social accounts, go to the Pinterest account, and if you scroll down, there's the default board section. In here you can leave no default board, and you can select a default board if you constantly pin to the same board. In our case, we simply selected marketing tips and resources, so that whenever we create posts for Pinterest using the interface, this is the board that our posts go to. Let's go to the next column. This is if you need to specify a specific subtype for the post. For example, you may be uploading a video, but that video can be either go to the Facebook feed, can be go to the Facebook reel, or can be posted as a Facebook story. So this is the column where you specify the media that you have attached on the media URL columns, whether you want it to go as a specific post type. For example, for this row in here, which is a photo hosted on our media library, I want this one to go as a story. It works the same if you want this specific row or post to be a PDF document or an Instagram reel or a YouTube short. If you go back to the written article, you will see the supported values that we have for this column. You can use short, case insensitive for YouTube shorts, reel or story, PDF, photo, event, or offer for Google Business. If you're uploading to Publer a vertical video, we will automatically mark that as a short or a reel, depending on your use case. So there's no need to specify the subtype column for such cases. You should only specify this column if you're posting to a story, or if you want a specific video to go to a reel or a short, or if you're posting to Google Photos or Google Events, offers, or a LinkedIn PDF document. The next column is the CTA column. Keep in mind that this column works only for Facebook links and for Google posts. So let me show you. Let me go back to Publer. I think I had a link attached. In here, you can specify a custom call to action button. For example, if you want the apply now to be shown, this is what we're referring the CTA button. And for Google, this is different or slightly different. It doesn't matter if you're uploading a photo or not. This will work for any post type. And these are the supported CTAs for Google. Keep in mind that if you need to specify a CTA for Google, it's also very important that you also specify a URL in here if you want the Google post to also have a CTA. Last but not least, there's the reminder column for specific post types that even though we support automatically, there are certain features that cannot be done through Publer directly. For example, if you need to add a trending sound for your Instagram Reels or TikToks, the only way that you can do that is through the respective apps. But as a workaround, you rely on the Publer mobile app, which I recommend, not only for getting these reminders, but it allows you to quickly schedule posts on the go, see what other members have scheduled in case they need approval. And if you need a specific post from your CSV file to be posted through a reminder or a push notification, you simply enter the true value, case insensitive, and for the rest of the rows, you can simply leave them blank. Publer will ignore them. Now that we have gone through all the CSV columns, let's go ahead and I'm going to save this file. I'm going to go back to Publer. Here, I'm going to click on import CSV file and find the CSV file on my computer and simply drag and drop it in here. It may take a few seconds depending on how big your CSV file is and depending on how many media Publer needs to download on our service. Okay, so the CSV file has been completed, so I can simply click on the notification and we can use it on our posts. As you can see, every row of the CSV file has been converted into a separate post. So let's compare them side by side. For the first row, we have a simple text that should be automatically scheduled for the funny time slot. And I'm going to select the Facebook page. As you can see, the first one, it says auto schedule. If I click on it, the label was automatically selected. And if I click on submit, the first post will be automatically scheduled for, if I remember correctly, it was next Friday at 3 p.m. or 4 p.m. The second post is the photo post with scheduled comments and should be scheduled for December 31st at midnight. So let's confirm that. As you can see, January 1st at midnight, December 31st at midnight is the same time. And let's see the comments. So if I expand this post, we'll see the post preview on the right. And as you can see, this is the first comment and this is the second comment that was specified in the CSV file. And the third post is a multi-photo post which should have alt text and also these two labels applied. So we have a multi-photo post, and if you look, both posts have a caption. So this is the first alt text, and if we open the second post, the second photo, this is the second alt text that is in here, Publer's roadmap. And this also should have two labels, promo and Publer. So let's confirm that. It does have the two labels, promo and Publer, applied to it. The next post should be scheduled 2 weeks from now, and at the moment is March 2nd. So I believe the next post should go to March 16th, correct? And this post should be, it should be a link post with the call to action button and also a custom thumbnail. Something that I forgot to mention when I was explaining the media URLs column is that you can also use this column to override the thumbnail of the link you're attaching. And by overriding, I mean if you're posting a native link post to Facebook, you will be able to override that. So let's go back and expand this. And as you can see, I've overridden this thumbnail because if I attach this link, I'm going to attach the exact same link. You will see that the default has a different thumbnail. See, this is the normal thumbnail, and in Publer is a different one because I overrode it using the CSV file. And this post should also have a CTA, the sign up one, which works also for both Facebook and Google. And if I select a Google business account, we will see that the same call to action, which is the only call to action that applies to both Facebook and Google, also has the sign up button selected. Let's go to the next post, which should be a Facebook link carousel. The one that I manually did in the beginning of this demo. We'll be able to automate it using a CSV file. And this one should be scheduled for next working day at 8 a.m. Today is Sunday, so the next working day should be Monday at 8 a.m. So let's confirm that. So this is a Facebook link carousel. In this case, I did not override the thumbnails, so the default ones have been used. And if we look at the schedule time, it's indeed for Monday at 8 a.m. The next post is a video hosted on our YouTube channel and should be automatically scheduled for the next available time slot, but unlike the first post, I did not specify a label, so Publer will simply pick the next available time slot that is unlabeled. And this post should also have a title, so let's go back to Publer and confirm that. It should be this post in here. It says Grow Your Social with Publer, basically the title that I specified in the CSV file. And as you can see, it's being automatically scheduled for an unlabeled time slot. The next post is the manually scheduled thread, which is only text, so it does not have a link or a media attached. And as you can see, these are the comments that will be converted into a thread. For this post, I'm going to unselect Facebook and I'm going to select a Twitter account. So it's right in here. So this is the post, and as you can see, the main caption goes to the main post, and the rest of the comments will go below the post in order to form a thread. Keep in mind that for comments, we enforce a couple of limitations based on the guidelines from the social networks. For Twitter and for the rest of the short form text social networks, we allow you up to 25 comments. For the rest of the social networks, we only allow you up to 2 comments because we do not want you to spam the comment section of your social accounts. So for Twitter, I can see all the comments, but if I select the Facebook page again, we will see that only the first 2 comments will be added because that's the limit that we have for Facebook. As you can see, even if you tried using the interface, you won't be able to add any more comments, but if you select Twitter, you will be able to add more comments to it. The next post is a story hosted on our media library, but this one should be posted with a reminder. So let's go back to Publer. We have the Facebook account selected, and it should be this one. And if we customize the post, we can see that for Twitter, it's just a regular photo post. But for Facebook, we see that the story tab was automatically selected for me. And also the get a reminder option was automatically selected for me. And we can also see the caption. So once you receive the reminder from Publer, you'll be able to paste this copied caption to your story. The next post is a Pinterest pin, which has a link, a photo, a title, and an alt text, and also a board selected. So for this post in here, I'm going to select the Publer's Pinterest account. So in here, if I click on customize, as you can see, the title was automatically added for me. We have the caption of the pin. It also has an alt text. It has the photo from our media library. It also has a link. And if we look at the board selection, the social media marketing board that I specified in here was automatically selected for me. The next one, it should be a LinkedIn PDF document, and also with the first comment. So these are the slides that are hosted publicly on our domain. It has the title for the PDF file, also the first comment that says sign up today at Publer, and we will see that this post will be automatically marked as a PDF document because I specified the subtype in here. So let's go back to Publer. It should be this post in here. And if I click on customize, we will see that for LinkedIn, this checkbox was automatically selected for me. And also the title that I specified in the CSV file, which is in here, should be automatically added in Publer. And this is how the post preview look like. And in case you forgot, we also have a first comment that should automatically go out as soon as this post is published. And the last post should be a Google business photo, which again is different from Google Update. Let's go back to Publer. I have selected the Google business account. And if we expand the last post, we will see that is a Google business photo of the Publer amazing team. I'm going to select the Facebook page just for the sake of this demo. And once you have every single post pre-reviewed, you simply click on submit, and every post that you see in here will be either automatically scheduled or manually scheduled depending on the case. Now, I want to cover a few cases that it's not possible to automate them using the CSV file. But before I jump into that, let me delete everything that I scheduled for the purpose of this demo. I want to start with TikTok. Let's assume that I've created two simple photo posts, and I want to allow users to comment. I want to change the privacy to friends. I want to disclose post content, that is our brand, and this is the branded content. And I also want to use recommended music from TikTok. Now, instead of having to do this manually for the second post, so as you can see, the second post does not have this option that I selected for the first post. And imagine if I had 100 posts in here, what I can do, I can specify them just for the first post and then click on this apply to all posts. And what will happen is that all the post reminder and privacy settings from this post will be applied to the rest of the TikTok photo post. So let's click on confirm. And now we can see that the second post also have this disclosure, the privacy settings, and the recommendation music from TikTok, similar to the first post. And you can use this apply to all posts not just for the details in here, but also for the signatures or follow-up comments or auto sharing or auto delete. For example, let's select Facebook, which has more options instead of TikTok. Let's say that I want to add the Publer mascot as a watermark to every photo post, but I don't want to have it as a default watermark. What I can do is I can simply specify it for the first post. So let's select watermark. It's right in here. Click on save. we can see that the first photo will have the watermark, but if I go to the second photo, it won't have it. And instead of like doing it manually, I can go back to the first post, click on the media options button again, select apply to all posts, click on save. And now if we go back to the second post, we'll see that the watermark has been added to the second photo post as well. And the same applies to all these options that you see in here. If I want to have a specific location, for example, I'm going to tag the Publer location in here. And once I do it for the first post, I can also do it for the rest of the post. Click on save. And the same goes to the signature. So I'm going to select the signature. I can apply it to all posts. And you can see the first post has the signature, has the location. And now if I go to the second post, this one also has the signature and also has the location besides the watermark that I did previously. So now that I showed you all these cool tricks that you can do using the Publer interface, if there's a specific feature that is not covered through the CSV file, you can basically import the CSV file, and for every specific feature that is not covered from the CSV file, you can use the little apply to all post hack. For example, if I want all the photo posts to be a story, but I did not specify that in the CSV file, I can simply select story in here, click on apply to all posts. Maybe let's assume that I want to get a reminder instead. I'll click on apply to all posts, and what will happen is that every applicable Facebook post will be sent via a reminder and as a story. So I'm going to click on confirm. Let's see. So we have a multi-photo post. This one should also be a story now and also through a reminder. Let's see if we have another photo or video in here. So we have maybe the last post. This is also a story and through a reminder. So I believe I've covered every single use case that has been requested the most through our feedback page or through our email or our social accounts. But in case I forgot something, please let me know in the comments. Thank you everyone for watching and for supporting us. And we have a lot of exciting updates coming our way.